Yeah.
You want to like him, but you can't.
Are you listening?
What?
Are you listening?
Did you bring me on this show to insult me?
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
Hey, y'all don't want it with us, man. We straight gangsters over here.
Straight
man.
gangsters. Yeah, good morning and welcome back. You are listening to Scout Team Radio. We bring it to you hot and live each and every morning. I am one of your gracious hosts. They call me Loudbeard.
You are the most egotistical, self-deluded person I have ever met.
Nah. And the man on the other microphone, he is a great patriot. He bleeds red, white, and blue.
America.
Yeah, it's your boy, Chris America, coming to you live this Friday. It is a Friday, yay, Loudbeard, and something I didn't realize yesterday, Loudbeard, when we were talking about the LeBron James record breaker.
Yes.
It was
What
on.
did you not realize?
It was on March 6th, which of course is also known as 3-6, which is also LeBron James' record in the final.
Huh. Look at you. Isn't it ironic? Don't you think?
A
Right
little
now, Alanis
too
Morissette is
ironic.
she's really enjoying this. Her and LeBron James, they're best friends.
Yeah, I really do think.
Yeah. So I gotta apologize. I was sitting here and I got really just drawn into looking up the topic that we have set for our draft today. I was looking on my phone and I looked down and I'm like, oh, it's already 6 o'clock. I should be starting now. And I halfway through our Ring Rust promo, I cut it off and started about like 20 or 30 seconds late. I like to be right on time, Chris America. I like to be Johnny on the spot. But we're having such a great draft today. Fridays, we do our Friday fantasy draft. We just pick random topics and just go for it. And you and I, we battle these epic battles against each other. And today we are doing movie sequels. And I'm excited about this topic. And there are so many bad movie sequels that there's no clear-cut number one, I don't believe. And there is no... I think whatever we draft, we're going to be on totally different planets because there's so many options out there. Don't you agree?
Yeah, and there's so many different ways to go about it, too. I don't know. A lot of times we know our listeners. We know what they're going to say. We know what they're going to vote. This one, I have no idea if they're going to love next Friday or if they're going to hate next Friday.
Yep. That's a...
You know what I mean? Like, it's such a polarizing movie.
Yeah. It is. It's very polarizing.
And then there's
and
other
especially
movies
since
like...
the first Friday was so good. Everybody loves the first Friday. That one's not polarizing. That one's just a well-liked movie.
It's just
but the
everybody
second
loves
one,
it.
Right. But the second one, it's like, there was some disappointment there.
Yeah.
There was.
Mm-hmm.
And so then the sequel, because of how good the first one is, does that make that sequel that much worse? Does it make the list? Does it make the cut? These are a lot of like tough, hard-hitting questions that we have going on this morning. And we'll have to wait till the second half of our show to find out, right?
And then, then there's other examples like Howling 2, Your Sister is a Werewolf. That one will be one where, like, I've never even heard of Howling 1. Can't tell you if I was disappointed in Howling 2.
Yeah, there's a couple in here that I hadn't seen before that I was like, should I put it on my list? If I've never watched it, like, I don't know. So we'll have to wait and see on this one, but definitely some good choices. And Howling wasn't on my list, Chris America. I'm glad you mentioned that one. Nope, I'm not picking that one. I'm not doing it.
I think that you're trying to give me a swerve. I'm going to make that my number one pick.
Yeah, do it. Do it. Well, let's get back to the world of sports. First half of the show, we'll talk sports. Second half, we will get into these terrible, terrible movie sequels. Weird story happened last night, Chris America. Weird story. All of a sudden, Ian Rappaport of the NFL Network starts getting online and just going crazy. The Bills are trading for Antonio Brown. The Bills are trading for Antonio Brown. The world's like, wow, the Bills, great job. And then all of a sudden, dozens of reports come out saying, no, that might not be happening. That's fake news. So, what do you think? Do you think that there is some credence to this? Ian Rappaport, a well-known journalist, usually a guy that has good sources, says that he's going to the Bills, even though Antonio Brown himself said that this is not true.
Yeah, you never know with these rumors. There's been so many times where the reporter will say, I am dead sure this is happening, and the player will say, this is news to me, I've never heard of this. The team will say, this is absolutely not true, and then one day later, it happens. And there's other times where we hear these stories, and everybody denies it, or everybody stays quiet about it, and then it never happens, or something like the Redskins announced that they trade for Brown.
Yeah. Yeah, and you never know. These things, they pop up in these news stories, and I mean, the way he made it sound in his initial report, it was a done deal. They were basically just having to finish it off with a handshake and a signature, and all of a sudden that gets shaken down. But there's usually where there's smoke, there's fire, right? So sometimes when you hear these reports, even though it's being reported as fake, it seems like there must be, I mean, Antonio Brown, the story's got to break today. He's got to go somewhere, right? Like, the Steelers are ready to unload this guy. Rumors are starting to heat up like crazy. I'm just waiting for the news to break. I'm going to keep my my breaking news alert line open just in case Antonio Brown gets traded while we're on air. And who knows? Could be to the Bills. Could be to my Redskins. Could be to your Panthers. Who knows?
Well, it's funny you mentioned your Redskins getting big news trade coming across your news feed, because we talked yesterday about y'all trading for Antonio Brown, and we're hoping that it would break before today's show. And lo and behold, big news trade. Redskins make a trade. Goes across your news feed. Loudbeard, I'm sure you're excited. You're like, yes, we got Antonio Brown. You click the story. You open the story. You read the Washington Redskins trade for. Take it away.
Case Keenum.
Yes.
The dynamic quarterback from the Denver Broncos. Yes, he had a little bit of a disappointing season last year, but if you look at him 2 seasons ago, he was one of the best quarterbacks in all of the league, and we're hoping in Washington to get that magic back. Washington is in a little bit of a predicament. Alex Smith, who was a very good quarterback for this Redskins team last year, had a 6-3 record before he goes out with that devastating leg injury. And now the Redskins don't know what to do at quarterback. So Alex Smith doesn't look like he will be back this season. And he does have a 3-year contract, so he is going to be available for the Redskins the following season if he's able to recover from that injury. So they need to bring somebody in to fill in. Do you start fresh and draft somebody? A lot of the rumors were that Daniel Jones, the Duke quarterback at 15, would be available, and the Redskins would be interested in him. Or do you go in and you go out and get a veteran to come in and play? Now, the Redskins, it looks like they're going with the veteran play, and I can't be upset about this. Yeah, it's not a flashy, exciting, one of these slam dunk quarterbacks. I get that. It's no different than getting a Joe Flacco or a Blake Bortles. It's really a guy that you're like, okay, well, he's going to come out and he's going to be he could be okay. Hopefully he can be better than okay. So it's not a great, flashy pick, but I'm okay with this. I can live with this. I'm excited to see if Case Keenum can get some of that magic like he had with the Vikings and bring it to the Redskins. Not that season he had last year in Denver. We're going to ignore that, pretend like it never happened. But that season before when he was with the Vikings, let's see if we can recapture some of that lightning in a bottle and bring some relevance back to this team because, we've had some rough years.
I'm looking at his contract, and I don't even understand why the Broncos traded him. It made no sense. He's only going to cost you guys $3.5 million next year. That's it. That's
smart move, right? The money's smart, at least.
The money's smart for you guys. I don't know why the Broncos move. I mean, for a backup quarterback, that's solid. That's a solid contract for a backup quarterback. What am I missing here?
No,
I feel like this can't be right. I thought he signed to some big time deal. Let me do some more research, Loudbeard. But if that's the case, then you're still in play for drafting your Daniel, your Will Greers, or whoever you want to do. You can make another quarterback move if all he's taking is $3.5 million. I'm pretty sure a lot of backups make anywhere between 4 to 8, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, and part of this deal was renegotiating his contract. So what you're looking at is what the renegotiated contract was. So part of the trade, they bring Case over, and I'm sure Case Keenum's thinking, all I want is an opportunity to start again to show that I can be a starter in the NFL. And the Redskins are a great team to be able to go to say, okay, I can win that starting job. And so he renegotiates his contract. I think the Broncos end up having to eat some of it, and then the Redskins take on some of it. But you're right, it ends up being $3.5 million responsible for the Redskins, and that to me is a great, great deal right there. And as far as draft picks go, they basically swapped a 6th-rounder and a 7th-rounder. So the Redskins give their 6th-rounder to Denver. Denver gives their 7th-rounder to Washington. And now Washington's got a quarterback on a cheap deal. They've paid Alex Smith, and Alex Smith is injured. So now they've got a viable starter that is on a really, really inexpensive deal that is probably just wanting to prove himself. The last year of this deal, it was just a 2-year contract. He goes out there. If he can light the world on fire, he knows next year he can get paid again. So he's trying to prove himself. I love the prove it deals. I love when guys are on their last year of their contract and they have to go out and play. When guys get paid, that's when they get lazy. And you see it all over the NFL. You see it all over basketball, all over baseball. Sometimes when these guys get these fat contracts, they get fat and happy and rich, and they don't care to try as hard or to push themselves. When you're on these make-it deals like Case Keenum, sometimes magic can happen.
Okay, so I'm looking at it now, and I guess he was owed $7 million this year. So the Broncos are actually going to pick up 3.5 of that. So you guys are going 50-50 split on this. It seems like they just really, really want Case Keenum off their team, which I still don't understand why they wouldn't keep. Like, Case Keenum is a solid backup quarterback. Now, maybe John Elway really likes Case Keenum and says, yeah, I could keep you as a backup, but you want to start in the NFL, and I have a team here willing to let you start, so I'm going to do you this solid. And maybe not everybody is a business, greedy, grubbing, I got to keep all my cards to myself type guy. Maybe he wants him to go out and try to succeed in his career. I don't know, man. It was kind of interesting that they traded him if he's only owed $7 million last year.
Right, and it's a good deal for the Redskins, but look at it. If John Elway sees him in that system and says, this quarterback doesn't fit to what we're trying to do, it didn't work out last year, we're not happy with him, he basically just is saying, we need to move on from this guy because even as a backup, we don't want, he doesn't fit into what we're trying to do. And it was obviously that he didn't fit in there. They were 6-10 last year. It was just, Broncos were not a good fit. And was it all Case Keenum's fault? I don't think so. I think there's other issues there, but it's time to move on. That's what it is. It's time to move on.
Yeah, I personally will predict that this is an insurance policy for the Redskins. They want Case Keenum on board. They're going to go out and draft a quarterback still. And this way they can throw them both against the wall and see who sticks. And also if they run into the same problems they did last year where if their drafted quarterback gets injured, they get to turn to Case Keenum. If Case Keenum gets injured, then they get to turn to your boy Colt McCoy. So they don't want to run into where it goes Alex Smith, Colt McCoy, and then Mark Sanchez. Now they can kind of have like a lot more cushion in your quarterback injury insurance policy there.
It's too early in the morning, and it's a Friday for you to be bringing up Mark Sanchez. Take that back.
Mark Sanchez.
Okay, I've had enough of this. Can we talk about something else? Let's talk about anything
else. I want to know. Case Keenum top 5 now?
I'm sure he will be by midseason.
So for those who don't know, a running joke for us is that anybody who plays quarterback for the Washington Redskins is a top 5 quarterback. And I generally just go with it. I go with the shenanigans. So I'm going to say it, Loudbeard. Case Keenum now officially a top 5 quarterback.
Well, if you're saying it, I guess I'm just going to have to agree.
I would agree
top
to agree.
Top 5.
We'll agree to agree.
Agree to agree. Yeah, and unfortunately it's been more quarterbacks than I'd like to admit. It really has been. I mean, Alex
I hate
Smith,
to bring it up.
Kirk Cousins.
I hate to bring it up, Loudbeard. I hate to be that guy that says I told you so, but y'all should have signed Kirk Cousins the first time you guys decided to
Hey,
red tag
yeah,
him.
that's
Or not
working
red
out
tag
for
him,
everybody. Because he brought the Redskins to so many playoff games. He brought
I
the
mean,
Vikings, who were a
he brought you
playoff
to-
team,
he
and
brought you to
he
more
took them
playoff
out of the
games.
playoff
Hold on.
picture.
Hold
Just
on.
think
He
about
brought
it.
you. Yeah, but at $21 million, that's what you guys would have signed him for. That's a good deal. Kirk Cousins is a good deal at $21 million. Whether he brings you to the playoffs or not.
It was time to move on, just like Case Keenum moving on from Broncos. It was just time.
Okay.
You can't no regrets.
No regrets.
Oh boy. Hey, another football story I want to talk about because this has got a lot of different layers to it. But David Irving, player for the Cowboys, I guess he was pending free agency, but he's been suspended. I think it was 3, and this was ended up being his 4th time. So he's coming out with an indefinite suspension. So he does a video on Instagram, and he says, "I quit," and he's holding a blunt in his hand while he's saying it, and he refers to marijuana as being a medicine, and that he thinks it's some bull honky, not that term specifically, but he's saying it's bull honky that the league is not taking a look at all of these issues that they're having with pain management, because it's okay to get prescribed an opioid, but not to have marijuana. And I think he's opening a big can of something here for the NFL, but a guy that gets suspended 3 or 4 times, a Cowboys, America's team player that's coming out and saying this on a video out there on Instagram. This is getting some traction, but I think the league's far, far away from allowing marijuana to be an acceptable substance for the league. What do you think?
It's sad but true that the league cares about marijuana, or that anybody cares that their football players are smoking marijuana. I don't understand why anybody cares. I don't care. You shouldn't care. It's their bodies. Let's move on. It's 2019. States are legalizing it everywhere. It's time to evolve as a society, get our brains out of the dirt, and just let people live their lives, man. Now, to this guy, you're an idiot. If you're choosing weed over a football career, you're just dumb, man. Like, I don't know. I mean, maybe Ricky Williams is at peace with his decision. Maybe this guy will be at peace with his decision. He might have a good nest egg of money, and he says, I'm out. I'm going to go smoke weed and enjoy life. I got the money that I wanted to get out of football, and I'm just going to, go do something else.
Gotcha. I'm going to read his quote here for you.
Let's
I'm
do
going
it.
to read it for all the listeners out there. There's a lot of bad words in here. I'm going to try to change it up a little bit, but he's like, we got this opioid thing going on, and I'm prescribed all that BS, and I just think it's BS that we've got to deal with that policy. Everyone thinks it's about smoking weed. It's not about smoking weed. It's much bigger than that. Much, much bigger. Heck, I have concussions every day. I get to see around the office how that stuff is in your head, and I feel it. He added, blunts over pills. So that's his new saying, blunts over pills.
We should run on that campaign, Loudbeard. 2020, blunts over pills. Vote
I'm
for
telling
us.
you, he's a marketing
President of the
genius.
United States. He could be our campaign manager, because I doubt he's old enough to be president. So I'm 35. You're over 35. Let's do this. You want to be vice president or president? I don't care.
Yeah. Okay, I'll take president since you're
All right.
offering.
Yeah, yeah.
All right, we're good with that.
I'll go yell
yeah.
at people in Congress.
Yeah, he's 25. He's not old enough to do that. Yep. But
Yeah.
blunts over
So
pills.
blunts over pills.
If
2020.
we're going for
Vote
office. We got to go all in. That's
the
how you go all in.
Loudbeard America ticket.
Yep.
But he's
So-
right, though. I mean, it is a little bit crazy that we're allowed to put narcotics in our body, but we're not allowed to smoke weed. Makes no sense.
Yeah. No, it doesn't make any sense whatsoever. I think that's all I got on football news. There was some rumors that George.
I have some football news.
Oh, okay. Let me hear it.
Robert Griffin III tweeted out, that's definitely what the fans wanted. Was he talking about your blunt over pills guy or the Kirk Cousins? Or not the Kirk Cousins trades, but the...
Case Keenum and blunts over pills. It was a dual tweet. He
that's
meant
true.
both.
That's
he meant
true.
both.
That's
dual
true.
tweet.
Hey, real quick, why is he
Like
not
a
in
dual
the
threat quarterback.
Why is he? Yeah, that's true. Why is he not in the AAF?
He's
He would be
still
a
backup,
perfect-
isn't he?
I don't
Or did
know.
he get cut? He was on
I
the
don't know.
Ravens for a little while.
He kind of floats around. people pick him up. I mean, maybe that's why he's not in the AAF because he's still making, $3 to $7 million a year just sitting on the bench in the NFL. But if he wanted to revive his career, that would be the place to go.
Yeah, he would be a perfect fit for the AAF.
Oh my God! If the Orlando, I love you, Garrett Gilbert, but
you're our boy.
Watching Robert Griffin III run around that field, it would be fun to watch.
Yes. Moving on. LeBron James, got to talk about him for just a second. Minutes being limited. The organization has decided they're going to limit LeBron's minutes the rest of the season. Is that the organization or is that LeBron making that decision?
Yes.
All right. Good
yes,
answer.
It's both.
Yeah.
Sorry, I was like taking a big chug of my protein shake, and you're like, is this or this? And I was like, oh crap, I gotta swallow this down really fast.
Chug.
Behind the scenes. I'm trying to get swole.
Okay.
Now,
swole America. That's a real American dream right there. Just get swole.
I think it was a joint decision. I think they kind of played it to where LeBron's like, I'm not going to sit. I'm not going to rest. I'm a baller. Let me tell you how much of a baller I am. And then he comes over to Magic and he's like, hey, bro, I don't really want to be here, but I don't want people to think I don't want to be here. So how about you shut me down?
The only joint decision I've ever made is blunts over pills.
Blunts over pills. We're 2020.
2020, making it happen. Yeah, I mean, LeBron's running the show over there. The whole thing's a circus. It's bad. It's all around bad, but the season just needs to hurry up and end for the Lakers. They need to regroup and figure this whole mess out. Another team that regrouped and finally got back into their winning ways. You were talking bad about my Thunder, and OKC in an overtime victory over the Blazers last night, win 129-121, despite Damian Lillard scoring 51 points. Oklahoma City's back. This is what happens. Every time you throw shade on them, they start heating back up. Good job. Thank you for the kiss of death, Chris America.
This is what we do at Scout Team Radio. We talk bad, we trash, we criticize, we chastise the Boston Celtics, and they are 2-0 since then. So now we've done the same to the Oklahoma City Thunder. I really think these NBA teams need to start throwing some money our way for helping them out.
Yeah, they do. They do. You know what else they need to throw money around at? Vince Carter. He's staying alive, man. He again comes out and says he wants to return for his 22nd season.
He's got like 10 more teams he's got to be on first.
That's right. He's checking those boxes.
Oh man, I remember when he was on the Minnesota Lakers. Good times.
That I was wondering why there's not that many lakes in Los Angeles. This is weird. Why are they called the Lakers?
Why are they called the Lakers?
That's so weird. Let's talk a little UFC. This is your wheelhouse right here. So why hasn't this McGregor fight been happened yet? McGregor versus Cowboy, and Cowboy, is it Cerrone or Cerrone? I always forget.
It's my Cerrone.
My Cerrone. So my Cerrone, Cowboy Cerrone, he comes out and says that the prima donna McGregor is the reason why this fight is being held up. He's ready to do this. McGregor is holding it up. Man, I thought McGregor would take life seriously, but he's one of those fat cats that once he got paid, he doesn't really care, does he?
That old Conor McGregor, he died like 4 or 5 years ago. Back in 2014, 2015. That's about when he died. And then he started becoming this prima donna guy. And he's no longer the Irishman who loves to fight and is ready to take the fight to anybody. He's now basically worse than a wide receiver. He really is. I mean, he's running around, not taking fights, taking boxing matches instead. He took almost a year and a half off from the UFC. When he decides to finally come back to the UFC, he's throwing dollies at buses full of people because he wants to pretend like he wants to fight somebody. And then he finally gets in the ring and he gets his butt whooped. And now he's, talking the talk all this time. And I really think that it's time for Dana White to say, McGregor, it's time to poop or get off the pot.
Yeah, he really needs to. I mean,
I can't
I'd
make
love
money
to see
off
him keep fighting, but
I can't make money off of you this way.
No, this is awful. The whole thing is it's a bad look for UFC, and McGregor, he's got a pretty big fan base. It would be good for the UFC, but he knows that he holds all the power, right? He's like, I can kind of do what I want. So Dana White needs to, put his foot down. Just say, this is it. You do this, you fight, or not.
He's going to slowly lose this power, though, and maybe he's delaying the inevitable, because if My Sirona beats him, I think that's it for Conor McGregor and his mystique of people loving him, because the last time he won a fight was November 2016. That was the last time he's won a professional fight. Boxing or MMA was almost 3 years ago. 2.5 years since the last time that Conor McGregor won a fight. And what do people always say when they watch sports? They say the same thing every single time.
I want winners.
You are so dumb. You are really dumb.
They say that too.
For real.
Just rolled together, huh?
Just roll together. Eddie Alvarez was the last person he beat November 12th, 2016.
Speaking of winners, and I'm with you on that. What else can we do to get this guy in the ring? It's basically his star is starting to fade. People are getting sick of it. I know hardcore MMA people are just done with this guy. A lot of them just are like, you know what? We want to see real fighters. Because he did. He turned into this prima donna, and it's a bad look for him. I thought he would get back to being that old 2014 Conor McGregor. He obviously hasn't. It's just time to move on. Now, speaking of winners, I love talking about winners. You love winners. And with this weekend,
winners.
We have a beautiful slate of AAF, Alliance Football games coming up. And I just want to briefly say that Saturday night, prime time, 8 o'clock, our Orlando Apollos 4-0 are going up against the Birmingham Iron, which are 3-1, the two top teams in the Alliance. I'm excited for this matchup.
This is one of those classic defense versus offense matchups. It's Steve Spurrier and his offense against the Birmingham Iron and their defense. And it's kind of funny that the team named the Iron has one of the best defenses, because you remember the Steel Curtain defense, and now we can have like the Iron Wall defense. I don't know, something cool like Ironclad defense.
The Iron Giant, like that Disney movie or animated movie.
Oh, yeah. I've never seen it, but yeah.
Oh, it's a good movie. You need to check that out. You have kids. What's wrong with you?
I don't know.
There's actually a pretty good slate of games. I know there's not that many teams in the Alliance, but when I'm looking at the schedule, I'm looking Memphis Express and the Atlanta Legends. We talked about them. They were both the winless teams, and then last week they each got a good win. You've got Aaron Murray, who's been announced the starter for the Atlanta Legends, and then you've got the Memphis Express, who moved on from Christian Hackenberg, now have Zach Mettenberger starting. To me, that's actually going to be one of the key matchups this week, because I think one of these teams is going to emerge and then maybe make a push for the playoffs. So I'm excited to see these 1 and 3 teams go at each other. Again, the two big college football names there, Zach Mettenberger and Aaron Murray, going up against each other. But I'm all in on the Memphis Express on this one.
Oh, you're jumping on the train, huh? You're jumping on the
Express train. It's a midnight train going anywhere.
Where some will sing, some will lose. Oh, you're not going to continue?
Some were meant to
sing the blues.
Yeah, whatever. I'm terrible with lyrics. I'm like one of those guys that always sings the wrong lyrics to songs.
You make stuff up as you go?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Big time. I don't know what it is. My brain just doesn't have that function. Like I see people that are like, oh yeah, and they sing every word to a song. I don't think I've ever known every word to a song.
You're in your car being like, hold me closer, Tony Danza.
Yeah, pretty much. And I mean, Tony Danza, who's the boss? I mean, one of the greatest shows ever. Of course they would make a song about him.
Yeah, of course they're making a song about him.
Why would they not? That makes so much sense to me. That's how my brain is wired. This is how I have to logically think about songs.
I get you. I'm there a lot of times too. And then it's funny because you'll hear it, and then when you read the lyrics, then oh, it's Tiny Dancers. But even still, no, I still hear Tony Danza with that one.
Yeah.
And just like
Tiny Dancers, that doesn't even make any sense.
Yeah,
why would somebody sing about that? That's Stupid.
Tony Danza makes way more sense. And then
That's
wrapped
what I'm
up
saying.
like a deuce. No. That's not what he's saying. He's not saying blinded by the red light, wrapped up like a deuce. We all know what he's saying. He's saying it's time to go to commercial break.
Dun, 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 dun. Nope, wrong
There we
one.
go.
Sorry, I wasn't really ready. It's Friday, man.
It is a Friday,
we go
man.
live, and I'm always ready. And we'll talk to you guys in just a few minutes.
When I'm working hard, I build up a thirst for sports. That's when I grab a cold 12-ounce sports radio. "12-ounce sports radio. Quench your sports thirst."
Scout Team listeners and friends of the show, I've got something special for you. It looks like 12-Ounce Sports Radio has done it again. We have partnered with Rally House. You just go to the website, 12ozsportsradio.com. Click on the banner on the right side of the page, and it will take you directly to Rally House. Rally House has some of the greatest, most unique sports items for that diehard fan, casual fan, and anybody and everybody out there that is special in your life. So go ahead and check it out. Once again, go to that website, 12ozsportsradio.com. Click on the banner to the right of the page, and you will get taken to the best sports merchandise website on all of the interweb.
Ring Central features all-in-one phone, messaging, and video conferencing. It's easy to use with unparalleled security. Ring Central simplifies things so you can grow. Call Ring Central to speak with a representative about a price for your growing business at 877-779-3860. Again, that's 877-779-3860.
Hey everybody, it's your favorite Patriot, Chris America, and I want you to listen every single weekday, Monday through Friday, 6 a.m. to 7 a.m., and on replays from 11 a.m. to noon of Scout Team Sports. Listen, George Washington did not cross over the ocean blue in 1492 to defeat the Nazis, so you can listen to the same tired national clickbait sports stories. So once again, tune into us every single morning, 6 a.m. to 7 a.m., and then we replay from 11 to noon. I will see you there, and God bless America.
Welcome back. Once again, what you're listening to Scout Team Radio. I'm Loudbeard. He's Chris America on the other mic. We bring it to you hot and live each and every morning. We are on live on 12-Ounce Sports Radio, 6 a.m. Monday through Friday. We also record each and every show, drop it as a podcast. That podcast gets aired on our partner podcast network, Barn Burner. And we also put it on our own website, and it's out there on Apple Podcasts, Spotify Podcasts. Just search for it, Scout Team Radio. Make sure you check it out. If you want to catch yesterday's episode, it was hot.
Hit subscribe.
Hit subscribe, rate, review, subscribe. Tell your friends, tell your family, tell everybody that you've
Tell
ever
your
met in
mom.
your entire life.
Tell your dad.
Yeah, what he said.
Tell the dog, your neighbor's dog.
Tell your neighbor's dog, and tell your neighbor to pick up its dog's poop on a Facebook
That's
page.
true.
That's what they're
That's
for
true.
now.
It's
Facebook
telling your neighbors to pick up
neighborhood
your dog's
group
poop?
pages. Yes.
Oh, do you have one of those?
Yes. And it's happened. That's probably one of the most common. Like, somebody will take a picture of their neighbor's dog's poop, and they're like, whoever's dog is this, you should be picking up the poop. I don't appreciate it being left in my lawn. And you're like, dude, this is not what this page is meant for. But, okay, whatever. And it happens all the time. That's the only reason why they made neighborhood Facebook groups nowadays. This is what the world we live in. This is the world we live in.
We don't talk to each other, but we do make sure we chastise each other on Facebook and Facebook
Yes.
groups.
Yes. And if you're on Twitter, make sure you hit us up at Scout Team Radio. Tweet at us. We love to get your input, your feedback, your topics, your suggestions, all of that fun stuff. Without further ado, it is Friday. We do a fantasy draft
You
on
said
Fridays. It's the theme of the morning. It's a doo-doo morning. And at least they didn't do a Baby Shark do. And
Oh, you are a.
oh, yeah, snuck that one in. And moving on. So I don't remember who gets the number one pick this week. Were you number one last
you
week?
Get
or
it.
was I?
You get it because I got Giannis and you still won.
Oh boy, yeah, you had the best number one pick. This is a bad draft to have a number one pick on. And you know what? I'm gonna be a little bit all over the place this week, Chris America. So I'm just going for it. I'm tired of it being just basic, boring draft. So I have no idea what I got planned. I got some names written down, but I'm going willy-nilly. Okay, the first pick in my fantasy draft of worst sequels ever is Mortal Kombat Annihilation. I talked about this last week. And
coming out swinging.
Coming out swinging. This is for you, Chris America.
Bortles.
Yep, that was Bortles Combat. We're going to make that a segment. I hooked it up. I got a drop. But one more time, just for the listeners.
Bortles.
You see that? I tried to dub myself in as Bortles, and it didn't quite work out well. But
It
that's
doesn't
what
even
we're playing
sound
this
like
morning.
you.
I know. I did my best Mortal Kombat voice.
That's awesome.
So, yep, number one. Let me write this down.
This is a good strategy because the first movie was bad, so the second movie is probably going to be twice as bad. And
yes,
solid strategy here, Loudbeard. So I'm going to take a similar strategy. Now, this movie probably put Sandra Bullock on the map for me. It's when I first noticed her, and it starred her, Keanu Reeves, and Dennis Hopper. The first movie did. And it was about her on a bus and a bomb, and you can't go below 50 miles per hour or it blows up. And it was kind of just a typical formula, hot guy, Keanu Reeves has to save everybody, hot girl falls in love with him. There's a lot of dramatic scenes. It's got some cheesy lines, some cheesy setups, and in the end, everybody lives. And it's a great, easy, knock them over the head, make a few $1 million, top box office summer hit, right?
Yes.
So let's do it again. This time, we're going to put Sandra Bullock on a boat. And then I don't really remember what the rest of the movie is about because I saw it once. It was awful. I assume that the boat can't go under 50 miles an hour. And it was Speed 2 Cruise Control, 1997.
I've seen that movie, and it is awful. Something about the boat was going to run into an island, and they had to try to stop it. I can't remember.
It was one of those movies where you come out and you're like, I am going to do whatever I can to forget what this movie was, so I don't have to think of it and relive its awfulness.
Yeah, your brain blocks it out as best as possible.
I mean, the good news is Sandra Bullock was really good looking in it. That was about the only redeeming fact. I've always had a big time celebrity crush on Sandra Bullock.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. She's got some good looks to her. Miss Congeniality. I'm sure that's one of your favorites. Though there's a sequel to that. I don't have that on my list. I shouldn't talk about these kind of movies.
I was kind of hoping you weren't going to say something because that may or may not be on my list.
Ooh. Okay. Gosh, there's so many bad ones that I have here, and I don't know where to go. I'm surprised you didn't go Joe Dirt with your number one pick, but I'm not gonna steal that from you. I think I'm gonna have to go. Oh, I don't know if I should go safe. You know what? I'm going to go safe. This is a funny movie that did not need a sequel, and I'm going to have to say Weekend at Bernie's 2. How many times can you walk around with a dead man and pretend like he's not dead? To me,
that was on my list. You stole one from me.
Oh, yeah, that not sequel worthy, right? Like that is a movie that does not need a sequel, and it was awful. Like the first one was funny. It was, whimsical.
It was a cute idea. It was different. It was something different. And then you're like, wait, so Bernie's not decomposing yet?
Yeah,
like by
it's
this
kind of morbid.
Be an awful smell. Yeah, so I've seen that movie. I remember enjoying the movies, but I think I enjoyed them because I was a kid. And when you're a kid, you just you enjoy the simplicity of everything and how like you don't sit there and start overthinking things. You're just like, oh look, it's Bernie, he's dead still, and they're still trying to. Oh look, he's being funny by being dead. But when you grow older, you're right. It was an awful sequel. Don't know why they wanted it. Don't know why we needed it. Just bad. Would you go see a remake though?
Probably not. Like it would be if it came out
right?
on Netflix, I'd watch it though. Like I wouldn't go spend money at a movie theater, but that's the nice thing about Netflix.
Original?
Yeah, if it was a Netflix original, directed by Adam Sandler, and maybe starring David Spade, yeah, I'd watch that. I would watch that.
Weekend at Hermes.
Whatever. I would do it. All right, your number 2 pick, sir.
All right. When you said it was a comedy that didn't really need a sequel, I thought you were going to take another one of my higher picks. So Weekend at Bernie's 2 was on my list, but it wasn't high. But this one was high, and when you said comedy, I was like, oh no, I should have said that before Speed Control because you weren't going to probably take Speed Control. But I got to do it before you do it. Caddyshack 2.
Well played, sir. Well played. Yeah. Now, I did have Speed 2 on my list. I don't think it was at the top of my list, but it was there. So for mine, good choice there. Very good choice. That's going to be sneaky good.
This is a classic
sneaky
where
good.
the original is so good that it's hard to outdo it. And a lot of times with comedies, they like to use a lot of the same jokes just because we like that, right? We kind of like the familiarity with the jokes. But at the same time, you want something fresh, something new. And sometimes they try too hard to give you that. And I think that's where this movie went.
Oh, big time. Big time. All right, I think for my next selection, I am going to have to go with, and I mentioned this last week when we were talking about this topic on air a little bit, but to me, one of the most disappointing sequels of all time is Boondock Saints. The original is just such a good cult classic. There's so many good things about the original that to me the sequel just falls so short.
It
doesn't replicate anything like it did in the original. So Boondock Saints, on a serious note, worst sequel ever.
Yeah, it's up there. And it was kind of the same thing as like comedies. Action movies sort of do this too, where they try to give you the same type of scenes and the same type of lines, and then they try really hard to stay fresh and new, and it just sometimes it just doesn't work. It just doesn't.
That's right, it doesn't.
All right, Ladbeard, I'm going to go old school. I'm going to go way back to a simpler times, a time where girls wore pink jackets and guys wore leather black jackets and greased their hair back, and they sang nice, cool show tunes to tell each other how much they're in love and everything else. And of course, I'm talking about Grease. Now, Grease was a fantastic film. It's one of the most iconic musicals of all time, one of the most iconic films of all time. There's not a single person in the world who says, I watched Grease, not that good. Haven't met anybody yet. I mean,
right. It's a fun movie. It's well-liked by millions. I agree.
Yes. Oh, Mike Burlon already giving me the win. Caddyshack 2. Wrap this one up. For Chris
he commented on his tweet, though. Just saying. He's commenting.
He's commenting? Loudbeard winning me back with Boondock Saints 2. I don't know if I can win Mike Burlon back with this one, but I'm going to go with Grease 2. Again, another film where Grease was great. Everything was awesome about it. Time to wrap it up. If you want to bring back Grease, just do a remake like 20 years from now. There is no need in 1982 to bring Maxwell Caulfield and Michelle Pfeiffer to the stand and try to make another movie. And it was total crap.
Yeah. I agree. Michelle Pfeiffer, though. Pretty good looking then.
Another good looker, man. Can never lose with Michelle Pfeiffer being in the movie.
No,
I mean, you can acting-wise, but looking-wise, yeah.
I will always look at Michelle Pfeiffer as Catwoman in that like latex suit from Batman, the Batman Returns. Oh. Anyway, I digress, and I need to get my mind off of that. So my number 4 pick. So Mike Berlon is from Craft Brewed Sports. They had their show on last night. I didn't get a chance to watch it because I was at the Cincinnati UCF game, but I'm going to catch the podcast today.
Which I'm surprised you didn't talk about at all.
I was saving it for the end. I was going to throw it in at the end.
Okay.
Yeah, but, I'm big win for UCF.
Save the best
kicking Cincinnati's
for
butt,
last.
so it's nice. I don't know if this is going to help out my stock here with Mike Berlon on Twitter, but who knows? He could be a closet Human Centipede fan, but I don't know. It's hard to say. Human Centipede, the original, such a just cutting-edge, unique idea
Yes.
for cinema. But when you come out
Award-winning.
with a sequel to this, Human Centipede 2, it really falls short. Because how many times can you sew somebody's lips to somebody else's buttocks? How many times can you do that? So I'm going to have to say Human Centipede 2 is one of the worst sequels ever made.
That makes me get tempted. Sometimes when you have the second pick, you react to the person with the first pick, right?
You do.
And that makes me want to take Sharknado 2. But Sharknado's beauty is in how bad it really is.
That would kill you because it's such a good movie.
Right.
It's such a good movie.
Because the art is in how bad it is, it's good. So I'm not
True.
going to go down there. I'm tempted. I got shocked. I'm like, I need to go do that. So, God, there's so many good ones. I have my list out here, Loudbeard, and I'm just like looking at them, and I'm like, oh, well, that would be a great next pick. No, that one would be a good next pick. And then I got Mike Berlon messing with me, telling me that I have it wrapped up, and then you pick Boondock Saints 2, and now he's back and forth and everything. And without further ado, I'm just going to go ahead and pull the trigger on Matrix Reloaded.
All right. Matrix Reloaded.
Again. Yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say, again, I am shocked that you have not gone with your least favorite sequel of all time, Joe Dirt. Are you saving that for your last pick? Or should I steal it from you?
You can if you want. I just don't know that many people saw Joe Dirt 2. That's my thing. Joe Dirt 2 didn't come out in theaters. It was released on an app called Crackle. I don't even know if anybody has Crackle. I don't think many people went out and downloaded Crackle. So if you want to put it on there, feel free. I just don't know. I know it is my number one worst sequel of all time, but I don't know that the fans will see it that way.
All right, good choice. Good pick. I mean, so you're going Matrix Reloaded. Yes,
because again,
definitely a disappointment factor there.
It's the same thing. Like let's overdo the stuff people loved, and let's try to bring fresh new ideas mixed in with it, and it just did not work.
That it did not. All right, so I'm looking here. I've got some serious movies with Human Centipede, Boondock Saints, and Mortal Kombat. I only have one funny movie. I think I got to go another funny movie. So looking at my funny movie list, I'm going to have to go with Paul Blart, Mall Cop 2. Definitely an unnecessary sequel.
You had a funny movie in there.
Yeah, just
your
the
Weekend
Weekend
at
at
Bernie's.
Yeah.
Oh, Paul Blart, Mall Cop 2. Again, another one of those. Why? Why are we making another one?
Like,
I don't
question
understand.
the first one being made.
Exactly.
But the second? What are we doing? I actually put that in the same realm, and you can, if you're picking this one, I'm sorry if I'm stealing your thunder, but Deuce Bigalow, European Gigolo, that was part of, why? Why are we doing these? We're hurting ourselves so much.
Loudbeard, we should have like 30 picks. I really do.
This was a good topic because there was so many, and you could go in so many different directions.
I mean, we have The Crow, City of Angels.
Oh, yes. Yep.
We have Blues Brothers 2000.
Yeah, not the same. I was disappointed in that one.
We have The Blair Witch Project 2.
Yeah, that was
Book
on my
of
list.
Shadows.
Yep, that's definitely one of my honorable mentions.
We have Son of the Mask.
Yes.
But I think I'm going to
Jamie
go...
Kennedy. Ugh.
Yeah, I think I'm going to go... with a different Jim Carrey sequel. I think I'm going to have to go with Dumb and Dumber.
Dumb and Dumber. Is that the one with the kids?
Yeah, it was well, does it count? Because it's a prequel. Now I need judges. Judges ruling here. Mike Berlon, please chime in on this. Does Dumber count as a sequel or a prequel?
I mean, I'd count it. I'm not opposed to it. You're going against me. This is an epic battle of worst sequels ever. So I'm not opposed to it.
All right. If you're not opposed to it, we'll run with it. Dumb and Dumber when Harry met Lloyd.
Yeah.
The only redeeming scene in that movie is when he has all like the melted chocolates in his pockets and he goes to the bathroom and realizes like what he had done and there's no towels or something and he's just smearing the chocolate all over the walls to kind of wipe off his hands. And then what's his name? Bob Saget comes in afterwards and he thinks it's S and he's like, there's S all over the walls.
I don't even know. Honestly, I don't know if I've ever seen that movie. Like, I didn't take myself. I was like, I just couldn't get myself up to watch that movie.
Memphis Spence chiming in. As commissioner of bad sequels, I now institute a 10-movie draft. Have at it. Well, let's just give our honorable mentions, Loudbeard.
All right. So I also
I don't think we're going to fit 10 in a tweet.
Yeah, no, we're not going to fit 10 in a tweet. So you said Son of Mask. I had Exorcist 2. An unnecessary sequel. Also, and this was on here. I've never seen this movie, but when I did research, apparently this is known as being one of the worst sequels ever. Super Babies, Baby Geniuses.
I never even heard of Super Babies 1.
It's kind of like what was that one you mentioned ahead of time? Howling 2 or whatever?
Howling 2, yeah. So here's another one. I love it when they do a play on words with the number 2, and it's Teen Wolf 2, T-O-O.
Oh, yeah, like
with Jason Bateman.
Yep. Not the same. Not the same. He's no Michael J. Fox, though he's great in his own right, but not as Teen Wolf.
We have Piranha 3 Double D.
Oh, yeah. The first Piranha, though, pretty good. B-rated, B movie. Problem Child 2. You remember those Problem Child series back in the day?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm sure they don't stand up very well.
No, not at all.
No, but John Ritter, man.
This one was on one of the worst lists, and I actually thought it was okay. It was dumb. It wasn't needed, but National Lampoon's Van Wilder, The Rise of Taj.
I never watched the Taj one. That one's funny?
It has its moments. If you turn your brain off, you'll laugh.
I didn't put this on my list, but there is a Christmas Vacation sequel, and it's called like Eddie's Island or something, where Uncle Eddie from the National Lampoon Christmas Vacation movie goes on vacation with his family onto like this deserted island. I tried to watch it once. I didn't get all the way through it. It's an awful, awful movie, but it would be one of the worst sequels ever because it's just stupid.
Now, I didn't know this until we researched this, but apparently there was a Saturday Night Fever sequel called Staying Alive.
Yeah, that made a lot of the top lists when I did my research also.
And then another one here that I don't think you will like. I haven't seen it, so I couldn't add it on my list. I couldn't give it to you, but a lot of people loved it. But Too Fast, Too Furious. Should that be on the list?
No, I mean, it's not a great sequel. The first Fast and Furious is much better, but it's not one of the worst ever. No, I wouldn't put that on there.
And then, let's see, what else we got here? There's one that I really wanted to mention. Where did it go? Oh, yeah, Transformers, Revenge of the Fallen. I've never seen any of the Transformer movies, so I can't relate.
Yeah, they progressively get worse, and they're almost borderline unwatchable at this point, but for some reason they keep coming out with more. They throw Mark Wahlberg in there just to kind of spice it up a little bit, and it worked for maybe the first one Wahlberg was in, and then the second one he was in, it was even worse than the first terrible one. So, yeah, those are pretty bad.
Now, sequels that are great sequels. Kill Bill Volume 2, fantastic, great sequel.
Wow, I didn't prepare my great list.
I only had that one.
Godfather Part 2.
Yes, Godfather Part 2. Yeah, so
Empire Strikes Back.
Empire Strikes Back, definitely one of the best sequels of all time.
Yep.
So we got about 1 minute left. Why don't you talk about your experience of watching UCF dethrone Cincinnati at home again?
Unbelievable, man. Unbelievable. UCF Knights playing Cincinnati. Tough basketball team. But UCF, they kept the lead for most of this game. It got tight at the very end. UCF had a boneheaded, flagrant, and technical foul on the same play, and a 7-point lead turned into a 2-point lead at the 3-minute mark. And it got a little dicey, but as UCF wins 58-55, the fans, they rush the court. It's a big deal, and it's just exciting for me, being a UCF alum, seeing that this school is relevant now in many sports, not just football or not just basketball, but the whole athletic program is doing great. Danny White gets nominated Under Armour AD of the Year, which he is well-deserved. And UCF's coming in hot, beating Houston and now beating Cincinnati, 2 ranked teams. UCF is coming into tournament time hot, and I had an amazing time. Go Knights, charge on. I don't know what else to say.
There you go. Yeah,
Thank
man.
you all
Have a
for
great
listening
weekend,
in.
guys. If you missed any of our episodes, make sure you go to scoutteamradio.com or you can go to Apple Podcasts. Hit that subscribe button for me, please. Just do it. Do it.